Welcome back, everyone. With free agency only a little over a week away, the rumors are continuing to escalate, and to absolutely no surprise, the Lakers are once again in the middle of them. At this point, we've all heard about the Kyrie Irving rumors, but I don't think many of us thought they would grow to this magnitude, as there are now multiple reports linking him to the Lakers. And not simply from any random reporter or network either. We've now heard it from The Athletic, Bleacher Report, ESPN, and more, all of which can typically be believed. Kyrie Irving, or at least the people around him, want to make it very known that he is not seeing eye to eye with the Brooklyn Nets right now. And although the Lakers may not be the only team linked to him, they are definitely the one getting the most coverage, with Adrian Wojnarowski even calling them the biggest threat to pry Kyrie away from Brooklyn. However, can all of that really be believed? Now, I'm not denying the validity of those reports, but does Kyrie Irving actually want to become a Laker, or is he simply trying to use them to gain leverage? As we know, it's not uncommon for that to happen. In fact, it happens pretty much every month, with Zach LaVine being a picture-perfect example of that. NBA players are fully aware of how popular the Lakers are. When a big name becomes linked to them through a rumor, it immediately becomes the talk of the league. And with Kyrie attempting to get a new contract from Brooklyn, but having very little leverage over them, he is trying to do everything he can to gain some. If the reports can be believed, the Brooklyn Nets are not willing to give him a fully guaranteed max contract, as they simply can no longer trust him. They reportedly offered him a 4-year contract extension, but with the final 2 years of that contract requiring him to play in 65 or more games to fully earn it. And that is something that Kyrie Irving obviously does not want to agree to. Even beyond him randomly leaving the team and missing time, he has dealt with a number of injuries too. Then throw in the fact that he is now 30 years old, and that could end up being a contract that he cannot fulfill, which he is not willing to take a risk on. And that leads back into him using the Lakers. Now, don't get me wrong here, he could very well have some form of interest in them, and might even have thought about it, but I guarantee that remaining in Brooklyn and getting a max contract from them is undoubtedly his #1 priority. They can offer him the most money, and it's not like they're a bad situation to be in either. Being on a team with Kevin Durant is never a bad thing, and they're only a piece or two away from being contenders. That is something that the Lakers cannot offer him. In fact, in order to even get him there, he would either have to opt into his player option and then sign a deal with them later on, or take a massive pay cut to join them in free agency. And when I say massive, I really mean it. He would have to take a near $30 million pay cut to join them without a trade. And I really doubt he wants anything to do with that. Considering he is trying to get more guaranteed money from Brooklyn, that rumor is really showing his bluff, and how he is trying to use the Lakers to gain leverage. I honestly don't blame him for it either. Like I referred to before, we've watched dozens of players do that before him, and up until this point, it appears to be a pretty good tactic. In my opinion, I don't think Kyrie Irving truly wants to join the Lakers. Again, maybe he tossed around the idea of it, but I highly doubt that is what he is trying to do here. Now, I would absolutely love to be wrong about that, as even a troubled Kyrie Irving is a definite upgrade over Westbrook, but I really don't see that being a reality. Although, what does appear to be a reality is with the Lakers trying to trade Westbrook again. It may have gotten lost in between the Kyrie Irving rumors, but according to Jonathan Givney of ESPN, the Lakers offered Westbrook, Talen Horton-Tucker, and a first-round pick to Indiana for a deal centered around Malcolm Brogdon. Now, we don't know for sure if this really happened or not, or even the complete details of the trade at that, but it does appear that Russell Westbrook is available, and that the Lakers might even be willing to give up a first-round draft pick to move on from him. And that goes against everything we've been hearing over the past month. They have been very adamant about not giving up a draft pick to trade him, and had many believing that they plan to keep him. I mean, who knows? Maybe that is what they are planning yet, and that this report is completely made up. But in reality, I think we all know that they would jump at the opportunity to move on from him. They are obviously not willing to give up a ton of assets to simply get rid of him, but it does not appear that keeping him is their #1 priority either. And in my opinion, that is a great sign moving forward. They have likely been trying to play the leverage game and do whatever they can to make him tradable, which does appear to be a possibility. And while it might not be with the Indiana Pacers, it could very well be with the Charlotte Hornets, who have once again been linked to him. According to Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer, the Charlotte Hornets have quote-unquote real interest in acquiring Westbrook. And although that might seem odd from the outside looking in, they do have a good reason for wanting him, which has very little to do with Westbrook the player. In fact, it has pretty much everything to do with his contract. And I know that might sound ridiculous, but his contract could actually help them long term. No, it won't benefit them this season, but it would help them moving forward. The Hornets are in a tough financial situation of their own, and they need to free up money to afford both Miles Bridges and eventually LaMelo Ball too. However, they cannot do that without moving either Gordon Hayward or Terry Rozier. But the problem is with Hayward having one of, if not the worst contract in the entire league. And yes, that conversation would include Westbrook too, because even though he will be earning $47 million this year, following that will be the end of it. But you cannot say the same thing about Hayward. He might be earning less than Westbrook at only $30 million this year, but he will be earning an additional $31 million next year. That combined total is significantly more than what they would have to pay Westbrook, and with them being able to absorb his contract without entering the luxury tax, it's really a no-brainer for them to want him over Hayward. In addition to that, they likely value his on-court production more than Hayward as well, or at the very least, their owner Michael Jordan probably does. Not only does Michael Jordan have a well-known appreciation for Russ, but he even has him under contract within his own brand too, which only further links them together. And with the Hornets being willing to not only move on from Hayward, but Kelly Oubre and Mason Plumlee too, who would be able to make a trade work financially between them, it really does make perfect sense. To wrap everything up here though, I do not believe that Kyrie Irving truly wants to join the Lakers, and rather, he is probably using them to gain leverage. Along with that, the Lakers appear to be actively shopping Westbrook again, which in my opinion is a very good sign moving forward. But with all of that being said, what do you guys think? Do you believe the Lakers have a real shot at Kyrie Irving? And do you think they will trade Westbrook? Let me know your thoughts by commenting down below and we can talk about it there. That will do it for this video though. Big thank you to those of you who took the time to watch until the end of this video, and until the end of all of my videos in general. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and turn on notifications to get notified right away when I drop a new video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.